Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this evening in this very topical topic about CBD versus Copaiba. I mean, Copaiba has been around now for 2 years from doTERRA. It's been around for a lot longer than that. In other markets, we all know essential oils are thousands of years old, but this is a very cool product that has created a lot of excitement and has been touted as CBD's greatest competitor. So we're going to dive in a little bit into the comparison between CBD, some of the legalities, and some things to consider when looking at CBD versus Copaiba. So welcome. My name is Byron from Pure Oils, and we'll be going on a little CBD Copaiba journey together tonight. As I said earlier, before we started recording, please feel free to ask questions in the chat group or take yourself off mute if you have a question. I'll just ask you to put yourself back on mute after you've asked your questions, and we've spoken a bit about it. But please do feel free to chime in at any point. So today's intention is really just to discuss what the differences between CBD and Copaiba are. So we're going to start with CBD. What is CBD? It's short for cannabidiol, which is naturally occurring in cannabis. We all know this, right? Unlike its cousin, THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, it's commonly found together. CBD and THC, they commonly come together because they come from the same plant. But unlike THC, CBD is not psychoactive, so it doesn't cause us to trip out or get high, as the hippies would call it when they smoke weed or do the various cannabis-related benefits, as some may call them. But CBD will impart a feeling of relaxation and calm. So cannabinoids, what are they? Cannabinoids are produced naturally in our bodies. And these are called endocannabinoids. So they're naturally occurring in our bodies. We do produce them. But essentially, a cannabinoid is anything that it triggers our ECS, or our endocannabinoid system, is considered endocannabinoid. And this can be any form of external, could even be a synthetic that's produced. But our main three that we have are cannabidiol, which is CBD, which we've just touched on, and also THC. We spoke a little bit about that produces the psychoactive effects in cannabis or marijuana. And it interacts with the CB1 and CB2 receptors. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a bit. And then we have beta-caryophyllene, and this is what Copaiba is comprised of, its main constituent. And there's no interaction with our CB1 system. It directly interacts with our CB2 receptors. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. So just place the whole CB1, CB2 on hold. It's not a character from the next Star Wars film, but we will make sense of what the difference between CB1 and CB2, and how the beta-caryophyllene interacts with our endocannabinoid system in comparison to CBD and THC. Let's just jump straight into how the endocannabinoid system works in our CB1 and CB2, our Star Wars characters, right? So CB1, we can see that it targets motor activity and thinking and appetite, short-term memory, pain reception, and immune cells. There is a lot of double up in what the CB2 system, which we mostly find in our throughout our body, throughout our immune system. But as you can see, there's a whole plethora of benefits and targeted receptors in regards to our CB2 system. So our CB1 system is primarily found in our central nervous system, whereas our CB2 receptors are primarily found throughout our endocrine system, which is throughout our whole body, and largely responsible for immune and pain, appetite, digestion, hormones, and various other functions as well. So when it comes to CBD and ECS receptors, CBD, it interacts with CB1 and CB2 receptors. However, the evidence of this interaction is so weak that it's almost non-existent. And despite the weak interaction, it's not direct. It's actually an indirect interaction with our endocannabinoid system. I do have an article that I can share with you guys, and I can share in this chat group. I will do this at the end, and it's a PubMed article with a bit more information about how the CBD interacts with our endocannabinoid system. So with direct receptor stimulation, this is this distinct difference between CBD and Copaiba. So we know for a fact that Copaiba, it's like a lock and key. It will directly interact with our endocannabinoid system. So we know exactly what it's going to do. It's going to directly interact with our CB2 receptors that are found throughout our whole body, and it's a direct hit. We're just going straight to our endocannabinoid system. We know that it's going to have the benefits of immune stimulation. It's a relaxant, inflammation response, great for digestive, and a plethora of other things, which we're going to touch on in the coming slides. So what is Copaiba exactly? We've talked about some of the sciencey stuff. I do really enjoy that, but I understand that not everybody loves the science and talking about cell receptors and constituents and all that sciencey stuff. So let's get back to some of the more practical stuff. And where is Copaiba sourced from? It comes from South America, in Brazil, and I had the pleasure of actually meeting the guy who it works with Central America and South America in sourcing. Met him over in Guatemala when we did the co-impact sourcing trip about cardamom, and he met these guys when he was traveling through the Amazon in a canoe, and he found these guys and realized that they were the real deal in sourcing Copaiba, genuine heart-centered farmers. And they decided that they would pursue this relationship with these guys and start sourcing their Copaiba essential oils from these ancient trees that naturally occur in Brazil. So it's the resin that's extracted from these trees, and then it's steam distilled from these trees. And doTERRA, like many other of their essential oils, including frankincense and tea tree, there is actually a mix of the species of Copaiba that they've placed into Copaiba. And they do this to be more effective, more widely effective in its use. And the same goes with frankincense and tea tree. They're sourced from a variety of different species, and it makes it a unique and proprietary blend that can only be sourced and purchased from doTERRA, of which we know is the highest quality. So is CBD safe, and is it effective? So before we get into the benefits of CBD, and I'm not here to just completely bag out CBD and say that it's completely useless and dangerous. There are So a lot of anecdotal evidence and stories out there, like the essential oils, of benefits of CBD. And I just wanted to more discuss on, what those key differences are and what considerations we need to take when we're trying to source CBD. It is certainly the rage. We get in everything from gummy bears to dog treats and chocolate even. So, it can be a little bit confusing as to how we're receiving CBD and the quality as well. And there's a lot more research that is needed on this, and it also really needs to be governed to ensure that we are getting a purity and a grade, a quality that is to be expected when we're using it medicinally for various health concerns. So the other question that we have is it legal? I think this is quite important. I know for a fact that we've had some people who get regularly tested for traces of not even CBD, of THC in their bloodstream, because as part of their job, they need to be completely drug-free. And, as part of our job as being good citizens of the earth, I think that's kind of a requirement as well. Maybe parents should be tested for this too. Little side joke there. So we've had police officers, miners, and other people who need CBD but can't risk the possibility of getting THC into their blood system, losing their jobs, etc., have come to us and have sought out Copaiba and the benefits of Copaiba. So that's just a little side thought there. And there's a lot of grey space when it comes to the legality of CBD. A lot of the times it's difficult to get, and it's illegal to obtain. I know there's some legislation that has recently come in ACT for the personal possession of marijuana. So you can have a certain amount of plants and a certain amount of personal use, medicinal use marijuana. This doesn't cover CBD at all. So there's still a huge gap there when it comes to CBD, and the people that are obtaining CBD for epilepsy and a whole bunch of other health reasons, medical reasons, are having to do so illegally. So it's a bit concerning that you have to go out and have to do this on the sly. So what are the benefits of CBD? We keep on hearing these three magical letters: CBD, CBD, CBD. What is it? We've learned that CBD, it's cannabidiol. It's from the hemp plant, and these are some of the medical uses that people are claiming and providing well-earned anecdotal evidence and testimonials in helping support these conditions that you can see here. Everything from arthritis through to anxiety, even epilepsy is probably the biggest one, cancer, and some other mental health conditions. But what about its purity? This is one of our big concerns, because there is no standard. It isn't regulated. Most of the time, there's going to be traces of THC that come through in the CBD that we're obtaining illegally. So not many people want to be experiencing these psychoactive effects. And yes, there is also some medicinal benefits to THC as well, but as a side effect, you do get those psychoactive effects or high feelings when you do have the THC that not everyone's going to want to do. And it's the same when it comes to essential oil purity. It's exactly the same with our essential oils. It doesn't matter if it's essential oil or if it's CBD. We need to make sure that our source, where we're getting our essential oils from, is of a reputable grade and quality. And so we know that doTERRA, they have the certified pure therapeutic grade. And this goes through a series of 6 tests, and there's no pesticides, fillers, chemicals, etc. You guys know the spiel, right? If you don't by now, then you should, because there's that much information and that many people have been sharing about the doTERRA difference and their certified pure therapeutic grade being what I believe is the best quality and grade essential oils available on the market. And I'm very proud to stand by that as well. And yes, doTERRA did make this this grade up. We're first to admit that we did make up this quality and grade. And the reason being is there wasn't a grade, a quality that was high enough for doTERRA to be satisfied to adhere to or to follow. So they had to go and make up their own. It sounds a bit crazy, but we can guarantee that 100% of the ingredients in that bottle is 100% pure essential oil, and it's therapeutic grade, and it can be used for medicinal purposes. So what is Copaiba oil used for? Getting back to some of our practical uses for what we can use Copaiba for, which I really want to focus on for a while now. And beta-caryophyllene, which is, we also find in high levels in black pepper essential oil. This is a quite a mild, spicy, and woody aroma that is great to use at the end of the day to help manage with stress and anxiety. And as well as the stress and anxiety and the emotional benefits and supporting our emotions with Copaiba, then we also have these physical benefits that you can see here. So supporting our nervous system and immune function, and it's a powerful antioxidant that can help boost our immune system as well. And this is a slide here that's been taken from a presentation from Dr. Hill in 2017, listing some of the benefits of Copaiba as it was released in 2017. So I'm going to go through a list of how to use Copaiba essential oil. And firstly, I want to start with how we use it aromatically. So we all know and have been introduced to the essential oils by diffusing them. Putting them in an oil burner is our most common first interaction with essential oils for people who aren't familiar with doTERRA. But at doTERRA, we diffuse our essential oils because it keeps our constituents, our chemical compounds, in its full and natural state, and we gain more benefits, both aromatically and also as they land on our surfaces, even our skin. So it becomes a topical application when we're diffusing. We also are taking them internally by breathing in the aromas that are thrown into the air through a diffuser. But Copaiba, as you can see some of the listed benefits here, it's great at just de-stressing at the end of the day. You can combine it with some citrus to lift the mood, or you can also combine it with a wood such as Siberian fir for more grounding and relaxation. So play around with those diffuser blends. You can usually put 2 or 3 of each of your Copaiba with a citrus, or for a wood with a wood and or a floral as well. Have a bit of fun with that. There's so many recommended blends out there that you can try. Check out Food Alchemy's aroma diffuser blends. They have just got an amazing list of recommendations for different flavors and emotional needs. So topically, this is, I'm more of a topical and internal guy. Like occasionally I turn on the diffuser for Renee at night when she asks me. She's the diffuser girl. We do have a diffuser every night in our bedroom. At the moment, we're diffusing adaptive because we have to be adaptive to our temporary living environment as we transition to our new home, moving interstate. So it's a bit of a testing period, but diffusing, it does help it, and especially great for the infants and children in your life, and perhaps the not so willing to use them topically internally. So this one's for you blokes, when your wife puts on the diffuser, you're getting the benefits. Sorry, mate, just enjoy it. So topically, it's great when in combination with fractionated coconut oil, blue tansy. It's perfect for minimizing blemishes and supporting our skin, our dermis. Combine it with the moisturizer and cedarwood, to support our skin. So if you're having any skin concerns like acne or redness or veins showing, rosacea, etc., you can use Copaiba along with cedarwood and some fractionated coconut oil. This is great for supporting our skin. It can also be used for other skin concerns such as dermatitis and eczema, psoriasis, etc. It is soothing and healing for the skin. So moving on to internal application, and this is by far my favorite way to use Copaiba. And you can make up your own capsules, and there's a couple of recommended little recipes here for supporting us cellularly. So cellular support, and we all know what frankincense is good for. It's for repairing damaged cells, right? So if we have damaged cells, we can combine the king and the queen. Sometimes Copaiba is referred to as the queen of essential oils. I think she's in contention with Rose there, but the queen needs her king, and she can be combined with frankincense in a veggie cap, or mixed with water and citrus. There's nothing better than putting citrus with water when you're first starting out with essential oils. What I recommend to everyone who's first starting out with essential oils, and I'm going to mention it in every presentation that I do about essential oils, is we need to focus on digestive health when it comes to any health concern. So we need to be taking our Terrazyme with every single meal, 2 to 3 capsules with every meal when we are faced with serious health concerns, at least morning and night for those 2 larger meals of the day. 2 Terrazyme capsules, and I'm really doing my best to try and make sure that we get Terrazyme in Australia available on the ground for us. I was talking to Rob Young about this in Guatemala as well. We were speaking about some options of how we can get Terrazyme into Australia and get everybody benefiting from this. Lifelong Vitality as well. This is another base product that everyone needs to be taking. And then, well, once again, back to our citrus oils. Citrus oils in water. Why not try mixing some Copaiba with your citrus oils as well? For digestive support, we can combine Copaiba with peppermint in a soft gel. The way I personally like to use Copaiba, because I'm a busy dad. I've got a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old, and making soft gels isn't always too convenient for me. It's a bit of a time-consuming thing. Before kids, I'd go to town making soft gels or veggie caps, but now it's all about convenience. So the Copaiba soft gels, which are available in Australia on the ground now, cheering for this. Please give me a little internal hooray there. doTERRA's worked really hard in getting these to us in Australia, but you can see once again those same health concerns that Copaiba is great at supporting, including the digestive support that we just mentioned with the peppermint, immune, neurological function, respiratory function. For more uses of Copaiba, I highly recommend going and checking out the blog. So just do a Google search on doTERRA blog using Copaiba, and you'll get a whole list of other ways that you can use Copaiba on the doTERRA blog website. So I also just wanted to touch as well on a couple of other doTERRA essential oil solutions of things that have recently come up when people have been asking me about, cellular support. So we all know what the cellular repair and cellular support is all about. It's about inflammation, and when we get growth that go out of control and go throughout our bodies, and it can be very threatening to our bodies and our lives. So we want to get on top of this. So frankincense and DDR prime, DDR prime specifically formulated for inflammation and pain and cellular support. And frankincense is one of the ingredients in there. You can make your own veggie caps for cellular support with frankincense and Copaiba. But remember, we already do have some pre-made products there by doTERRA that are fantastic at doing this, and DDR prime is one of those things. Now, another thing that's very common this day in age, and the reason why I really fell in love with doTERRA is anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Just working a stressful job and not sleeping enough, not able to stop the monkey mind. And this is where essential oils came in for me. I use balance, and I still recommend this to everybody. Balance every day on the bottoms of the feet, back of the neck, lavender peace at night, and then vetiver on the toes. More recently, adaptive has come in, and I mentioned earlier that we're in transit at the moment. We're in limbo land, and there's a lot of backwards and forwards and temporary living conditions, and they're first world issues really. But it's still been tough adapting to the situation. And at one point I had enough. My hands were thrown in the air, and I was ready to just sign off, pack it in, and just go, yep, I'm done, sorry. And what I did is I turned to my Copaiba soft gels and adaptive, and I had 2 Copaiba soft gels and 2 adaptive soft gels. And I can tell you what, around 15 to 20 minutes later, I was in the best mood. I was washing the dishes. I was like singing, and I was almost elated. So going from like absolute rock bottom, not one of my the most proud moments I've had in life. I generally like to be a pretty uplifted and happy guy, but this was a bit of a low point for me, and the Copaiba and adaptive really helped lift me back up to where I needed to be, to get through the day, to get through the situation. So I'm just going to, as I've got a little message pop up here on my screen, I'm just going to say, restart tonight. That's hopefully tonight is not right now. We don't want to restart my computer. So in summary, I hope you guys feel a bit more confident about what the difference between CBD and Copaiba is. And just to sum it up briefly, CBD, it is it's relatively new scientifically in comparison to essential oils which have been used for thousands of years. The Copaiba essential oil, it works directly with our endocannabinoid system, our internal cannabinoid system, which we all have. You don't get it, from taking Copaiba. We already have it internally, and we already produce our own cannabinoids as well. But Copaiba, it interacts directly. It's the lock and the key. It works directly with our internal cannabinoid system, and we instantaneously get the benefits that have been mentioned today. And it also goes through a stringent process in terms of quality and grade. So with Copaiba, in comparison to CBD, which is largely unregulated and illegal and has been known to have traces, at least traces of THC, we know that Copaiba, it doesn't have any psychoactive effects, and it is 100% pure Copaiba essential oil that we can gain the benefits from, that is in a lot of the literature that we have access to in the Essential Life book, an app, Modern Essentials book, app. You know, there's the Dropley app as well. There's the information that we get on the internet too. There's just so much information out there. And I'm also going to share some links with you as we sum up this presentation on things that I've touched on. And, you know, I also just wanted to, you know, reiterate, you know, why I personally love Copaiba so much is, for me, it provides that sense of reassurance, that relaxation. You know, I use it at night to help with sleep. I use it in times of high stress and anxiety. I prefer to use it internally, a drop under the tongue, or the soft gels that I touched on before as my preferred internal method of using Copaiba. I've got a little YouTube video here that I'd love to share as well in the chat group, and I'll do that in the end because I'm kind of limited with my controls and my temporary living situation at the moment. And same with the more in-depth information that I'm going to provide you guys too. I'm just going to flood the chat group as soon as I finish this presentation with the links that you can feel more than free and happy to go and copy and go do your own research. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I hope there's a bit more clarity on the difference between CBD and Copaiba and the benefits that we can get from both of these, some of the risks and considerations that we need to consider when we're looking at obtaining CBD and also Copaiba. Cool. Hey, Michelle. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording this presentation, and I'm going to open up the chat group and also invite you guys to take yourself off mute and ask some questions. So those who are watching this later online, thank you for joining me. Please feel free to reach out. Facebook, email, byron@pureoils.com.au. Send me some questions. Same with on Facebook as well. Drop me a line, and thank you so much for joining me.